Okay, I think it's working. We're just waiting for a text now from Alex to tell us that this is working. Um, Great. Okay. Hi, everyone on Facebook. We were just sorting that out, which was a really fun 3 minutes. That was thrilling for everyone on Instagram, I'm sure. I'm Emma Harris. You can hear the voice of Anisha Srinivasan, who is my co-founder of the company Global Origins. So we're going to be talking.
Hello.
Yes. Hopefully you can hear her. If you can't, comment and we will try to remedy that, probably by Anisha screaming into her headphones.
My very favorite thing to do.
Yes. Okay. So, sorry for everyone on Instagram who had to bear with that. Cool. So we're here to, thank you, King's Head. We're here to do a company takeover and talk for the next 26 minutes now about our company and what we do.
Do you want to do a little recap of the kind of...
Oh, sure, yeah. So Anisha explained this on Instagram, but I couldn't figure out Facebook because I'm a cool person. So yep. Basically, we are a network and a platform for international and multicultural artists. So we mean anyone who doesn't place their entire identity within the UK. I'm a Jewish American and Anisha is from India. And we're both migrants who are currently on visas here. So we wanted to create a platform and a safe space and paid opportunities for anyone who feels in some way kind of marginalized or not necessarily part of mainstream British. What would you say, Anisha?
Yeah, I think that's right. Mainstream traditional British theater.
Yeah. So we set up the company like a year ago, 2 years ago.
2 years ago now.
Oh my God. So we met at drama school while we were training, and basically the impetus for starting the company is that we were both really kind of sad and lonely. Would you say?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, the Emma and I studied kind of in classrooms next to each other for a year, at least 6 months, without ever having met each other. And when we did meet, which was on a bus and not in a space curated for us to meet, which we felt should exist, we discovered that we had a lot of interests and a lot of kind of problems that we had with British theatre were very similar. And we thought that there needed to be more kind of a more active effort to have artists who feel the same way be able to talk to each other, just if only to feel kind of emotionally and artistically supported.
It's also worth noting that the international community for students is massive. I mean, the percentages, like for drama schools and for universities, it's just like a massive, massive percentage of the people who are studying in the UK. And we felt that there wasn't necessarily, although it's technically a large community on paper in terms of the numbers, there wasn't necessarily a sense of community. So yeah, that's, Anisha is looking at me proudly. I guess that's something good. And someone commented saying they can hear both of us, so that's also awesome.
That's awesome.
Cool. So I guess what we're going to do is talk a bit about the company, talk about what it is that we do, what we provide, what we're trying to do moving forwards in these strange times, and then what else are we talking about, Anisha?
Yeah, that's kind of it. And obviously, if there's any of you want to ask us anything or tell us anything or, whatever, please feel free to comment.
Yeah, comment. We can answer any questions at the end. Yeah. Right. So Anisha took notes, actually, on what we were going to talk about, but they're not fully legible.
Oh, thanks, Emma.
Yeah, no shade.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, should we talk a little bit about the kind of technical, like just the way that the company was formed?
Yeah.
So obviously, there is a very kind of small turnover rate of drama students who require visas to stay in this country long term, being able to continue to stay and work here after their degrees are over. And one of the kind of great support systems that's in place is an entrepreneurship visa that many universities offer,
And drama schools.
And drama schools, where you are sponsored by your university as you start and run a company. And that's kind of what we did. It used to be called an entrepreneurial visa. It's now called a startup visa. But we're on the second year of that. So we've done a year of kind of submitting a business plan, having check-ins with our institute, and then got renewed for a second year. And the company started kind of out of a twofold thing. One reason was personal, which is the loneliness, like Emma mentioned earlier. And the other was a kind of more practical way for us to stay in the country, and also kind of try to make it a little bit easier for everybody who's like us, who is here under similar circumstances.
To get slightly political for a second, international student fees are very high, and the government makes it very hard for international students to stay in the country afterwards. So it's sort of a like, thank you for the money, get out situation. Sort of are here as a side note, if anyone is interested in talking about kind of means, we're by no means, immigration lawyers, but if anyone wants to talk about ways, if anyone's coming up on graduating and needs to talk about ways to try to stay in the country, we are happy to discuss that. Although obviously what with the constantly evolving state of the world, we don't necessarily know that the same options will be in place tomorrow that are in place today, but that is something that we're happy to talk about. And one of our main interests as a company is kind of trying to support international students. So yeah, hit us up.
Yeah. Great. Should we talk about what we do?
Yeah. Do you want to start that?
Sure. Well, I guess, the idea was that we wanted to put artists who might not know of each other's existence because of, all of the doors that separate one artist from another, in touch with each other, make sure that there are kind of helpful and supportive conversations happening, but also to have an actual space where you can tell stories that you want to tell without being told things that I think Emma and I continue to be told a lot, like, could you be more foreign, could you be less foreign, could you, without the ask of having to be a kind of representative of your entire country or culture in the UK, but just make art that you think speaks to who you are or what your identity is in any sense that you may perceive that. So obviously one of the things, the kind of main thing that we've done is a festival called Are We There Yet? The answer is no.
No.
And we had our first iteration in October of 2020 at the Bussey Building in Peckham. That had artists from over 19 countries, some of them not physically in the UK. And we also kind of took down all of the genre boundaries and said that what we want to do is multidisciplinary art as opposed to just kind of traditional theater.
So yeah, something that we've found with a lot of kind of scratch and festival opportunities is that they're quite specific in their asks, which is completely fine and a totally valid thing. But often it's like, 15 minutes extract from a play in English. And we were sort of interested in what does it look like if we just give artists free reign to make whatever it is that they want to make. It doesn't necessarily need to be, a rehearsed reading that's had a week of rehearsal time. It doesn't necessarily need to be a polished, script that's done. It doesn't necessarily need to be a play text. So we were sort of keen to encourage as multidisciplinary sort of offering as possible, which we thought was in keeping with the fact that we're sort of trying to be global. So yeah, it just the fact that things were like quite specific, and it's this sort of thing of like, oh well, we want this one thing from you but not this thing from you, very much felt in keeping with what we would, as Nish mentioned, as what we've often been told, which is, could you be less Jewish, could you be more Jewish, could you be, more this, could you be more less that, in a way that's unhelpful. And so we sort of wanted to just say, hey, if you have a thing and you want space for it and you want to test it out, whatever, like wherever it's at in the development process, come do it with us, if you identify as multicultural or international, and we will give you some money.
Yeah.
So it was very important to us that we pay all of our artists, because we felt as well that opportunities don't pay for your groceries. And so we thought that, if we're asking artists for their craft and time, we should compensate financially. We're not at the point where we're able to give anyone, like massive amounts of money or what we would like to be able to give in the future. But we did think that ethically it's really important to be able to, as a gesture of kind of goodwill, just show that, like, we take you and your time seriously and appreciate what you're doing. So the festival in Peckham, we picked the Bussey building because we kind of wanted to see what happens if we worked in a non-theatrical space that doesn't necessarily have the hegemonic implications of, not that the National Theatre would have let us. We did actually get in touch with, hey, National Theatre, if you're watching this, let us do it. We'll see you on June 30th. Possibly later, probably later. We did try to get in touch with the British Library and also with the Tower, but it turns out that it's very expensive to rent both of those spaces for an evening. So anyways, one of the things that we're interested in is sort of dismantling the hegemonic structures surrounding theater in this country, and one of those is obviously kind of the idea of a trad, like proscenium space with, like, red velvet seats and boomers kind of buying their £4 ice creams and
I was just gonna say tiny cartons of ice cream.
Yes, the ice creams are a big part of it, like the salted caramel Jude's, £3 ice cream. So we were interested in, like, what does it look like if we try to disrupt that in some way? And if we're disrupting that in terms of content, how do we disrupt that in terms of venue and space? So that was why we chose Peckham. And that this festival was 2 days. We had tons of absolutely amazing artists. Shout out to Same, Emily Abud, Adam Lenson, everyone who I don't mention, I'm really sorry. But there is a full program list on our website, which is www.globalorigins.com. Is that right, Anisha?
Yes.
Yeah. So check that out for some of the really exciting artists that are working right now. Tons of the people who were in the festival actually got nominated for and won awards at the Vaults, which is really cool. A lot of people had Edinburgh plans that sadly have been canceled for this year. So if you are interested in supporting any of those artists, which you should be because they're all amazing, definitely go to our website or Twitter and check out who they are and what it is that they're doing. Yeah?
Yeah. And just, just like for a quick idea of what kind of work we did last time. So far, Emma's if you don't mind me saying this, a director and a dramaturg, and I'm a writer and director. And until all of last year, we decided that it felt more important to kind of help facilitate work that felt important and interesting, and kind of support the development of that in whatever way possible, instead of kind of using the festival to privilege our own work. And so we had a lot of really fantastic spoken word, visual art installations, audio installations, music, theater, musical theater,
music theater, gig theater, sort of live art, with lots of fruit. Basically it was just like a really kind of like genre-less 2 evenings, and the goal in the future would be to try to do a longer takeover of a building or of a space. We don't know when that will be because pandemic, but that's the goal, is to sort of create a festival experience wherein you can experience global genreless art, and we can elevate and platform amazing multicultural and international artists and pay them money for their time and artistry. So that's that. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that we've been doing over the last few months is teaching workshops at the Central School of Speech and Drama about kind of ethical modes of representation. So Emma and I both have academic backgrounds, so sometimes we approach things that way. And it felt like there was the we felt a real lack of a conversation about during our training about, you know, I mean, at, Emma and I both did academic masters before this, and then kind of studied theater. And I think in all of those cases, we felt like there were things that were just missing from the conversation, like how do you ethically represent identity on stage? How do you be ethically represented on stage when you feel that you are not? And so we've been teaching a lot of workshops on kind of Orientalism, creating checklists for writers and performers about how to be responsible while telling both your own and someone else's story.
Yeah. So basically, something that we encountered again and again is sort of problematic shit cropping up in rehearsal rooms, in writing rooms, in, you know, kind of any, in call outs, actually. Like there's a, you know, there are a variety of call outs on like Bossy or things like that. Not to shame anyone, but we've seen a lot of things where it's like, oh, that's like maybe not okay. And it feels like there should be a conversation about that in drama schools, in the training, you know, at the beginning and throughout, so that students know, and, you know, emerging practitioners go into the industry knowing, oh, okay, this is what it means to kind of, you know, like write identity in an ethical way. This is what it means to not, what's a good example? I just want to talk about, like,
put me in the spot there.
Sorry.
I don't.
Oh yeah, no, actually, let's not shame anyone. I just like was gonna, like, you know, talk about like problematic shows that have been on at big venues, but I think we all know about those. So basically, we're trying to create, you know, a conversation among the next generation of practitioners wherein they, like, this stuff gets flagged because it doesn't really feel like it is part of the curriculum. In the same way that in academia, you know, the canon is sort of taught in an unquestioned way, and like decolonizing literature is not something that is necessarily part of the focus or the agenda. We feel that decolonizing theater is not necessarily part of the focus or agenda within drama school training. And it's sort of like, okay, well, you know, people should know as they're going into the industry what to expect and how to handle situations that are going to be unpleasant.
Yeah.
And how to
also,
navigate those.
I think also kind of making sure that, you know, students in drama schools who don't feel adequately represented feel that their concerns are being listened to, because the question of kind of what is British theatre has always had a really kind of singular answer, and it's always about Shakespeare and Oscar Wilde. But when we look around, those aren't all the people that we see. So what does it mean that all of our voices, we're all here, and we are all, you know, in one way or another British theatre, and how can we kind of make that space look like what it is, which is diverse and, you know, containing a multitude of identities and stories that aren't just kind of the same and languages and contexts
and
you know,
forms.
genres.
Yeah,
that aren't just the kind of same story over and over again in the same kind of
way.
A
well-made play with, you know, 5 acts, 3 acts. Yeah, the well-made play, which is fine. That's fine that exists, but there needs to be space at the biggest venues for options that aren't that, and those need to be, you know, regarded as artistically valid and important, which they are.
Yeah.
So one thing we do is festival, providing paid opportunities to try to elevate and support international multicultural artists. We do workshops. I'm counting with my fingers. There we go. Workshops for drama school students. And then the last thing that we're sort of working on right now is creating an online network. Given the current, this has been a goal of ours for a while, but given the kind of current climate, whatever we call whatever's going on with COVID, we think it's especially important. I've chosen to stay in the UK. Actually, I kind of had to because of visa stuff. Anisha chose to stay in the UK. A lot of people have gone home to be with their families, wherever home may be. But there are a lot of unique concerns that come with being a kind of migrant artist, or rather someone who's living in a country that's not the place they call home. Yeah, although obviously home, like we could interrogate that for a million years. Like, what is home?
Absolutely.
There are many homes. But yeah,
I guess what we would say is kind of far away from family.
Yes.
And
from kind of like support systems.
Yeah.
So something we're trying to do to combat that we've been interested in doing for a while, but it kind of feels more urgent now. So we're going to figure out our technology. We're working on it. Is creating an online network for anyone who's international and multicultural. We're looking at either Slack or Basecamp, and we're going to be posting about this in the near future on our Twitter, which is global_origins. Is that right?
Yep.
Great. And on our Facebook page, to keep people.
But the idea of that would be like to substitute, a kind of discussion group in a pub with a kind of safe digital space where anyone who's kind of feeling the emotional stress of this situation and the changes in the industry would be able to reach out, share resources, have conversations, find, other artists who are, maybe have advice or are dealing with the same kinds of issues, and just kind of create a kind of active space for that conversation. Yeah, I mean, it's free.
There are all sorts of issues, like with regard, one is not necessarily having access to public funds, depending on the visa that you're on. There are issues with, when are we going to see our families again? How are we going to fly home? Like, or how are we going to fly back to here if we're not here? Here and there are all sorts of kind of unique issues. And obviously we're all, as a society, grappling with trying to figure out what this kind of uniquely challenging moment means. But we're aiming as well to kind of create a more specifically curated space for just airing the different kind of concerns. I know that I've been sending all my friends a lot of dog videos. That could theoretically, be a thread. I mean, there can be another one about access to public funds, which is probably definitely more important than videos of dogs. But basically just creating a space to sort of deal with those issues.
I guess the other thing to say is that because of, the fact that, our main kind of goals with the company were not to kind of help create final products for staging or facilitate that necessarily, but it's been more about having conversations and building relationships and creating kind of safe spaces so that, artists can try stuff, develop work, do things that maybe you feel like you haven't been able to do before, and just, we feel like that is something that feels more important than ever now, which is that there shouldn't be kind of pressure to create anything with an end game in mind, but nor should we say that creation is, making art is unimportant now because we can't play it out in front of a live audience. Yeah. So I think the thing that we're kind of working on now is how can, what is it that would be most helpful for us to do by way of facilitation. So if there's anything that you would like to talk to us about please get in touch with us on like our website or our Twitter or our Facebook or any form of social media of your choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Should we? I don't know if there are any questions, but we've got 2 minutes. So, Nish, can you see any questions anywhere? I don't even know where they would be located.
No, I don't see anything.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't see any either. So I guess that means we just talk for 2 more minutes.
Great.
If you have a question, feel free to comment it now. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess that like kind of the last thing that maybe we should say is that this company always felt really important, but right now it kind of feels like what we're trying to do in terms of creating a network and a sense of community is all the more important, just given how kind of alienated, and it started because we personally felt lonely as migrants, but I think we're all grappling with loneliness right now, and kind of fear and sorrow, and we're all sort of mourning for our industry and asking a lot of questions about what's going to happen next, and we're all sort of mourning for society as we knew it, life as we knew it, family, this, that. I'm going to stop getting too depressing. Sorry. But we sort of are just here in whatever this kind of pause is. We're here to offer whatever we can with regards to safe space, to facilitate whatever it is that you as multicultural and international artists are interested in, or allies. Anything else, Anisha? Do you want to say something like charming and funny? So sign off.
Well, now that you've said it, I refuse.
Okay.
I think that's it. It's more like we just want to know what we could, what is the most useful way for us to function now, and it's something that we're trying to figure out, but we really want to have more conversations, and we really want to, just all work together, and we're working with a lot of absolutely brilliant theater companies and artists, Global Voices, Legal Aliens, Nastasia, a lot of amazing people who are working kind of within the same area, trying to support international and migrant and multicultural and diasporic artists as much as possible. So we're all here. Please come talk to us.
We got a comment.
Oh no, but that was such a good.
I know, it was such a good ending. It was such a good ending. Thank you for that. Shadi wants to know whether after the current situation is over, yay, do you think that the connectivity brought with increased virtual art and performance spaces will have an impact on the industry? Yes.
Yes. But the thing is that there's no, unlike in a lot of kind of spaces that are now closed, because this industry, I think, relies so much on kind of public sentiment and actual human people choosing to congregate.
Yeah, liveness and really bodies in a space.
Yeah, we don't really know what it'll look like when it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is going to be something that we're going to have to just keep. I was going to say recovering from, but that's actually quite cynical. But I just mean learning from.
Yeah.
And just kind of trying to understand what this means. I don't think that we're, unlike someone who maybe works in an office or a bank, we're not going to be able to get up one day and just go to work, at least not all of us. So kind of continuing to engage with what it means to, I think that we should avoid saying that, it's over for now, and then when it restarts, it'll restart.
Anisha, we apparently have Instagram questions.
We don't, do we?
No, apparently we do. Alex, just tell us to stop if you want. We've offered like several excellent parting lines, but apparently, I mean, maybe not excellent.
As the world's borders start to become more difficult to cross, what do you think we as immigrants can do to help promote an inclusive society?
Ooh.
That's a really good and also difficult question.
Yeah.
I think, sorry, Emma.
Oh, I was just going to say that I guess that's something that I would invite big conversation about, kind of the personal and the political and the obligations of the artist, and as kind of migrant artists, what it is that we need to do and what our responsibilities are in this time.
Yes.
And then the other question apparently was, can you say how to get in touch with you guys? Okay, so we are globalorigins at gmail.com.
Global Origins Theater at gmail.com.
We are globaloriginstheater at gmail.com. We are www.globalorigins.com. We are on Twitter as global, lowercase, all lowercase, global_origins. And yeah, sorry to sort of just gloss over that question. That's an amazing question.
I'm sending all of that information on the Instagram thing.
Oh, great.
I also think, obviously the political situation is getting really tense, but there is so much kind of international solidarity happening with artists. There are kind of alternative spaces that exist where the kind of anti-immigration, xenophobic narrative is being challenged. I'm sorry that the phone is so close to my face. I'm just trying to type while speaking. And I think that's something that a lot of really brilliant artists are trying to do right now all around the world. And something that we're trying to do is just get all of those amazing people in touch with each other somehow. And that's a really long-term goal. It's not something that we can do in 6 months. It's not something that we can do in a year, but it is something that we can slowly build. And that's what we're trying to do, which is to say, just because your government has decided that your borders will no longer be open, that doesn't mean that there is no room for resistance. How's that?
That's a great parting line. All right. Thank you all. Thank you to the King's Head. Follow us, get in touch, send me dog videos. Don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Sounds great.
I'm gonna end it on Facebook, yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.